What's going on, everyone? Rogue here, back at it again with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Video! Today, a long time testing and long time editing has brought me to the end of the road, and I've finally got a profile for you guys that I believe has been working, and it's been consistent. Been working hard on these the Drytrons, and I finally got them where I think they can be. There's a few more ideas I have for the deck that I'm going to be messing around with in the future, but for right now, this particular variant is where it's at. So I'm really excited to showcase this for you guys. And without further ado, let's dive right into the deck profile. Starting it off with the regular monsters. Running triple alpha. This is your ritual monster search. You can tribute one other Drytron or ritual monster from your hand or field. Special summon this card from your hand or graveyard in defense position, and add one ritual monster from your deck to your hand. Any ritual monster. So, triple alpha. And then also running triple zeta. Drytron zeta Aldaba. Same effect, same summoning effect. If this one is special summoned, however, you get to search any ritual spell from your deck to your hand. And then also the draw package of the Drytron. Running triple delta for the draw. If this is summoned, same effect. You can tribute a Drytron monster or a ritual monster from your hand or field. And when this is special summoned from your hand or graveyard, then you get to reveal a ritual monster or a ritual spell in your hand and draw one card. That's why we're running 3 copies of each, because they kind of like synchronize together. You can search the ritual monster, you search the ritual spell, you special summon this, you reveal either of the two, and then you draw a card. So, triple alpha, zeta, and delta. So, and also running triple Drytron gamma Latin. This is your extender. This helps you get into Xyz plays. This helps you get ritual tribute fodder on the board, and just get into all sorts of shenanigans. So triple gamma for the extension. Okay, that's all for the regular Drytron monsters of the deck. And now for some of the spice. Running one Manju the 10,000 Hands to be able to search a ritual spell or a ritual monster. Running one Vanity's Ruler to be able to lock your opponent out of special summoning. That's where our Gamma Latin comes into play. We get that extra extension, and then we can tribute those Drytrons from the field to bring out the Vanity's Ruler and just kind of end on that and sit on the Vanity. So those are our one-ofs. Okay. And then the extra spicy spice of the deck. This is my personal tech. Running not one Malefic Cyber End Dragon, but 2 Malefic Cyber End Dragon. And I just really love the artwork on this. It makes me so happy that it's a secret rare too. Oh man, it's such a gorgeous card. But anyway, this fits all of the tribute fodder requirements for the Drytron engine. It's a high level, it's a high attack, and it's a machine. So you get it all. You got 4,000 attack to work with for tributing, and it's a machine type, and it's a high level. So we don't really worry about levels with Drytron though, but definitely 4,000 attack is going to get you into some ritual summon plays, and the fact that it's a machine just opens up all of the possibilities of Drytron ritual summoning. So double Malefic Cyber and Dragon. It's really only going to come up once, but running 2 of them so I see it, because you want to see this as soon as possible, just so you have that tribute fodder to get into your ritual plays. Speaking of ritual plays, let's get into the ritual monsters. Running triple Drytron Medionis quadratons. I can't say that word. Medionis quad. Triple Medionis quad. All right. If this card's ritual summon were level 2 or less, sorry. If the levels of the monsters used for this ritual summon were 2 or less, which are your regular Drytrons, you can destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls. So it's also got the backup ability that if this card is destroyed for any reason, you can special summon a Drytron monster from your graveyard. So this is your back row hate. So you want to remove back row, you bring out this guy. So wipe out all spells and traps your opponent controls. And your opponent cannot target this card with spells or trap cards effects. So it's immune to spells and traps. It blows up spells and traps. And yeah, so that's another reason why we maxed out on the Gamma. So we get that extension play. We have the tribute fodder to trigger our big guys effects. And speaking of the big guys, also running not 1, not 2, but triple Drytron Medionis Draconids. Now that name I can say. But your opponent cannot target this with monster effects. So one is immune to spells and traps, and the other is immune to monster effects. Well, can't be targeted anyways. So if it's a non-targeting monster effect, then you're kind of screwed. But other than that, they cannot target it with monster effects. But it has a really cool, has a really cool effect that if all monsters used for its ritual summon were level 2 or less, it can attack all special summon monsters your opponent controls once each with 4,000 attack. And in today's meta, pretty much 97%, and that's on the minimum, 97% of your opponent's board is going to end on special summon monsters. So you're going to bring this out, and you're going to be able to swing at them all. So maxing it on this guy, and not only just for that, but also because during your opponent's turn, you have a quick effect to banish monsters from your graveyard whose combined attack equal exactly 2,000 or 4,000, which is your Drytron monsters, or your Malefic Cyber End Dragon, because it's 4,000 attack. That way you don't have to start banishing your ritual monsters. You can just banish a Malefic Cyber End Dragon. And if you do, you can target a face-up card your opponent controls and send that card to the graveyard. And it's card or cards. So you can banish monsters. So you can banish any number from your grave that have 2,000 or 4,000. And then you can send that many cards your opponent controls. So it's fantastic, maxed out on both of these because they're really good. And they're also tribute fodder for each other. So that's another reason why I maxed out on all of these. Because these are tribute fodder for each other. You can use a Quandradus to get into a Draconids. You can use a Draconids to get into a Quan. So, yeah. And then, of course, Malefic Cyber End Dragon also helps you get into them and helps you have the requirement for their abilities if it's in graveyard. Moving along to the rest of our ritual monsters. That's our Drytron lineup. For the other spice of the deck, the non-Drytron spice, running 1 Demised Supreme King of Armageddon is if you use a ritual monster to go into this guy, he can destroy everything on the field pretty much. You don't have to pay life points to activate his effect, and once per turn, you can destroy as many other cards on the field as possible and then inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each one. Plus, he's got 3,000 attack, so, yeah. So this guy's really good in that aspect to help clear the board as well. So you got back row hate, you got the ability to attack all your opponent's special monsters, and you have the ability to board wipe. Also running a Blue Eyes Chaos Max because it is 4,000 attack. So, and it cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and gives you a little added piercing damage. So it's just a little fun tech to play around with. It also can't be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So these are the 2 main big guys for the extra spice. a Supreme King Armageddon and Chaos Max. And we are running a very small yet effective Cyber Angel engine. So we got one Cyber Angel Ben 10 to get the search, one Cyber Angel Natasha, which is really interesting because you can target a face-up monster you control and gain life points equal to half its attack if you needed it. But that's not what it's in the deck for. When a ritual monster you control is targeted for an attack by your opponent, you can negate the attack, which is really good. But not only that, you want to tribute this as tribute fodder to get it in your graveyard, because if it's in your graveyard, you can banish one other Cyber Angel monster in your graveyard, and you're going to have Ben 10 in there, because you're going to use Ben 10 to get into Natasha most of the time. That's how you would like it to work out anyways. Because then you would banish the Ben 10 from your graveyard and target a monster your opponent controls and special summon this card. And if you do, take control of their card. Love taking control of stuff. And last but not least, one Cyber Angel Dakini. Because you can make your opponent send a monster they control to the graveyard. Of course, it's their choice, but we love forcing them to send. Love it. Either take control of it or they're sending it. And yeah, so we're definitely doing some shenanigans there. So, and that is all for the monsters. Okay. Now on to the spells and traps. Oh yes, and Dakini also says if a ritual monster you control attacks, then you can inflict piercing damage to your opponent. And you get to target a ritual monster or Machine Angel Ritual, which we're not running in here. But you can target a ritual monster during the end phase in your graveyard and add it from your graveyard to your hand during the end phase. So there's that as well. I apologize for that. Now, the spells. We aren't running any traps in this deck, just FYI, because we want it to be as fast as possible. There is not one single trap in this deck at all. But we are running not one, not two, but triple Drytron Fafnir. This card is just the sauce of the deck. This is what really makes Drytron be able to stand up and stay out there and do what it's going to do. Because when this is activated, first of all, you get to add a Drytron spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Except Fafnir. So that's going to get you right into your ritual Drytron spell immediately. Or any of your other Drytron spells immediately. Unless they ash it. But once per turn, if a monster is normal or special summoned, face up while you control a Drytron monster. Alright, that'd be Gamma, by the way. Or ritual summoning, because that's a special summon. You can reduce that monster's level by 1,000, by 1 per 1,000 its current attack for the rest of his turn. So, yeah. If a monster is normal or special summon face up while you control a Drytron, you can reduce its level. And yeah, so you can mess with, you can really disrupt their ability to synchro summon, basically. So, but the most important thing about this card is while it's out on the field, while it's active, the activation and the activated effects of your ritual spells cannot be negated. So they can't stop you from casting a ritual spell without getting rid of this. So this ensures that you're going to be able to get your ritual spell plays through without interruption. So triple Drytron Fafnir, primarily for the search and the protection. The other one really doesn't come up very often. And also, as a little extra spicy tech, and because we want to make sure we have a field spell out if we ever actually summon the Malefic Cyber End Dragon to the board, or want to summon it to the board without it automatically dying, then we want to make sure we have a field spell out. So we're also running one Mound of the Bound Creator. not only so that we ensure that we're going to see a field spell as soon as possible, and ensure that we always have a field spell out in play, since we're running the Malefic engine in here, but also because this deck is jam-cram packed with level 10 or higher monsters. And this says that your level 10 or higher monsters cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. So that means, let's see here, can't be destroyed can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. All right. Let's see, cannot be destroyed or targeted by card effects. And cannot be destroyed or targeted by card effects. I mean, there you have it. Synergy. Anytime I see synergy, I can't help but to try and at least give it a shot. And this card's actually came in clutch. Sorry about that. It actually came in and helped me win a few games because they couldn't destroy them by card effects. It was that very reason. So, can't be targeted or destroyed, can't be targeted or destroyed, can't be targeted or destroyed as long as this is out. So, yeah. And if a level 10 or higher monster destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, the player who controlled that destroyed monster takes 1,000 points of damage. So imagine attacking every single special summon monster they control with 4,000 attack. Okay? They're going to take damage plus 1,000. Damage plus 1,000. Or if it's defense, they're going to take 1,000 no matter what. You just attack, 1,000, 1,000. I mean, the synergy is just too good. So, yeah, the last part of this effect does not come in clutch because I'm not running a divine monster in the deck. But if you were to choose to use the last ability, you could run like a sphere, the Winged Dragon of Ra sphere, because when this card is destroyed by card effect sent to the graveyard, you can add a divine monster from your deck to your hand. But not running that part of it. Because more often than not, the game's going to be over before that even comes up. So. And on to the rest of our spells. Maxed out. Nope. I was running 3 copies of Meteonis Drytron, but I bumped it down to 2. Because it is so searchable and so recyclable. I mean, I'll almost have both of these in my hand most of the game. But, because you can search it off of your Fafnir, okay? And it's going to make sure it goes through, and it's got its own built-in recycle ability. If this card is in your graveyard, it can target a Drytron you control. Just have it lose 1,000 attack, and if it does, add this card back to your hand. So, but it does have the requirement that you have to tribute machine monsters whose total attack equal or exceed the attack of the ritual monster you're trying to summon. So you have to tribute machine monsters. Alright? So it does specify you have to tribute machine monsters whose attack equal or exceed. So, hence the Malefic Cyber End Dragon. So if at the beginning of this video, when you saw that Malefic Cyber End Dragon, you were like, what the hell is that in there for? Well, now you know why. So that basically gives, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 that all fulfill the requirement of using this. So you got 8 targets for Meteonis Drytron to ritual summon any monster. Because you can use it, this card is used to ritual summon any ritual monster from your hand or your graveyard. So, yes, 8 targets to ritual summon any ritual monster in the game from your hand or graveyard. So, 2 of those. And also running, not 1, but 2 Cyber Emergency. This will search you out a light machine monster. So that'll get you any piece of your Drytron engine. You can't search the Malefic Cyber End Dragon off this, unfortunately, because it's dark. but that will get you any other light machine monster in the deck. So that pretty much searches the entire Drytron engine. I was running this at 3, but I bumped it back down to 2 because 3 Cyber Emergency, 3 Meteonis Drytron, and 3 Fafnir was just way too cloggy. And in a Ritual deck, you do not want to brick at all, because when Ritual breaks, it breaks hard and it will cost you a game. So I had to find the right balance, and I found the right balance was 2 Cyber Emergency with 2 Meteonis Drytron. This is the correct balance, I feel, in my personal opinion, through testing. So, yes, double Cyber Emergency, and that is all for those. Moving on to the rest of the spells. 1 Upstart Goblin for a draw. 1 Heritage of the Light for more draw power. If you control a ritual monster and then you ritual summon another ritual monster next to that ritual monster, you get to draw a card. And it's a continuous spell, so extra draw power is always fantastic. So that's our little mini draw engine there. 1 Dark Ruler No More to negate all your opponent's monsters, and there ain't nothing they can say or do about it. Unfortunately, they don't take any damage for the rest of the turn, but that's okay if we're just trying to break their board. And that's also why we're only running the 1 copy of it. I know some people run 3 copies of this. I was running 3 copies of this, and again, don't want to see a handful of spells. Alright, so had to bump this down to 2, and even at 2, it was getting in the way. So, dropped it all the way down to a 1 of, because you just don't always want to see this. I mean, it's a good card, and it does what it does well, and it can break a board and get you a win, but it can also get in the way when you want to see other combo pieces in your hand. You can't tribute a Dark Ruler No More to Ritual Summon. Just saying. So 1 Dark Ruler No More. 1 Malefic Divide to extend our plays. You can target a Malefic monster in your graveyard and special summon it. And that is fantastic because the summoning condition of Malefic Cyber End Dragon says that if there's no face-up field spell card on the field, you destroy it, but you can simply special summon it by removing from play a Cyber End Dragon from your extra deck. So if you lose your free extension here because they pop the field spell just to get over it easily, this is a quick play. Alright? This is a quick play spell. You can set this almost like baiting them out. Go ahead, pop my field spell. Thank you. And then boom. Turn comes around, play another field spell, activate this, target your Malefic Cyber End Dragon and special summon it, and you got more all over again. Just extends, so it kind of gives you like a 9th. We got 8 targets for the Meteonis Drytron ritual spell. We got 8 targets in the deck for it. This gives you like a 9th. All you gotta do is drop a field spell out there, and boom. So, also running limiter removal to go for the OTK, and a backup rider for when we can do piercing damage. We'll add 1500 attack to, let's say, our Blue Eyes Chaos Max, for example. Would make it a 5500 attack with piercing, which is pretty brutal when you think about it. And definitely not least, 1 Action Magic Double Banking for the full OTK. You discard a card if a monster is currently discard 1 card this turn. If a monster you control destroys a monster by battle, it can attack again in a row. So you can get 2 piercings in there, or you can make something 8,000 attack and attack twice with an 8,000. I mean, the possibilities are pretty nuts. So, and there's so many 4,000 attack monsters in here. I mean, you can make your 4,000 machine an 8,000 right here, and then give it 2 attacks. All right. Or, I mean, if you saw all of these, I mean, that'd be pretty nuts. Because then it'd be what, 8,000 plus 1,500, it'd be a 9,500 that can attack twice. So, but just beefing them up as much as possible to go for an OTK. And another thing I liked about Action Magic is the fact that it has a lot in common with Meteonis Drytron and the aspect of recycle. Because during your main phase, if this is in your graveyard, you can discard a spell and set this card. So, guess what you could do with that? You could discard a Meteonis Drytron. Add this back to your hand, because this can recycle itself. If it's in the graveyard, target a Drytron you control, make it lose 1,000 attack. Then you pretty much get both of these back in your hand. You'd pitch this, add this, reduce something by 1,000 attack, add this. Boom. Synergy. But only the one double banking. I was running that in as a 2 of as well, bump that down. So this deck's came a long way. It's had a lot of play testing, battle testing, and a lot of changes and ratios modified towards finally performing the way you would expect it to perform, built the way it's built. Now on to the extra deck. Running 1 Drytron Mubeta Fafnir. Hasn't come up. Just saying. The game's usually over before I start getting into these. But it's in there just in case, because when you ritual summon, you can detach a material from this card as monsters required for the ritual summon. So you can detach materials instead of tributing if you need to. If this card is Xyz summoned, you can send a Drytron card from your deck to your graveyard. Send a Meteonis Drytron. Boom. Reduce this by 1,000. Add it to your hand. Boom. When your opponent activates a spell or trap while you control a machine ritual monster, it has a quick effect to detach and negate and destroy a spell or trap while you have a ritual machine monster on the board, which is our Drytron. So yeah. So 1 Drytron Mubeta Fafnir. And for more of our rank 1s, I maxed out on triple Utopia Roots. And let me explain why. Why did I max out on this over the Fafnir? Well, first of all, got like 9 targets for ritual summoning fodder in the deck. So Fafnir, it's good, but really don't need it the way this deck is put together. I mean, it's a bonus. It's a bonus. It'll come in clutch if you get backed into a corner. Basically, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, all right, boom." But Utopia Roots, when any player's monster declares an attack, so that's when you attack or when your opponent attacks. You can detach a material from this card, negate the attack, and if you negated an Xyz monster's attack, this card gains attack equal to that monster's rank times 500. So just think about all the rank 8s and rank 10s running around, and Zeus, what is he, a 12 or something? I mean, they swing in with Zeus. You either they're going to use Zeus's effect to clear the field and then attack, or B, they're not going to have any materials left on Zeus, and if you time it right, you would do it that way, and then they would just be swinging with a big body, and you would bring this out, because Zeus is like a 3,000 attack, level 12, I believe, or sorry, rank 12. Bring this guy out. That's just a really high rank example, by the way. I'm just using this for like the best possible scenario, but anyways, say they used up all of Zeus's materials and they decide they're going to swing with them instead of link them away or something. Well, you bring this out when they're sitting on their Zeus, and you declare an attack with this, and it gains 12 times 500. So 12 times 500, that would be, I gotta do math here. 6,000, I believe. 6,000 attack. So that would make Utopia Roots 6,500 swinging into, yeah. So, but that's if, if you negated their Zeus attack. But anybody reads this effect, they're probably not going to swing into it. So that's the other benefit. You bring out Utopia Roots while they have an Xyz monster that's a high rank on board. They're not going to want to swing at you because they're going to know what it's going to do. They would have to negate his effect. And in doing so, you're going to also bait out an effect negate. So, maxed out on Utopia Roots because it's so versatile, I feel like, because you can either sit on it as a defensive play or you can bait out an effect negation just to bait out an effect Veiler and force him to use it up or whatnot, or an Imperm or a Dark Ruler no more. Any of those cards, if they, because that's the only way they're going to get over it. That's the only way their Xyz monster is going to get over it, anyways. And with all the fusion running amok, that are all level 8 or higher or whatnot, and being able to span the field, I would not be the least bit surprised to not see a bunch of Xyz plays off of the fusion plays. And that's where Utopia Roots is really going to shine, because then if they read this card, they're not going to want to attack you. And they'll at least either have to pass or they'll have to negate his effect. One of the two. Either pass or negate his effect, or take control of him. They will have to deal with this card. That's the point. And that's why there's 3 of them. That way, because if it was just running 1 copy in here and then 3 of these, this would not really phase them. They'd be like, okay, I'm going to deal with that, and then it'd be over with, and they'd be able to play through you, and you might lose the game. But having to play through 3 of them is a different story. You're gonna run them through their resources, and then you'll be able to bulldoze over them when they're out of resources. It's an option, anyways. Moving along, that's all for the Xyz monsters. For our tribute requirement, running double Cyber End Dragon for our Malefic Cyber End Dragon. And last but not least, 1 Link Mail Archfiend. Because, check this out. If you're not familiar with Link Mail Archfiend, it is a Link 4 that takes 2+ monsters, including a Ritual or Xyz monster. Okay, so check this out. You use your Drytrons, and you can go into either one of these Xyz monsters, alright? We'll say either one of these is on the board, okay? We'll use Utopia Roots, for example. Alright. So, you get into this, and you bring out your Drytrons, you use your Drytrons to get into this, use your Drytrons to get into a Ritual monster, and to get into this. You summon this, you summon your Drytrons, you your Ritual summon, boom. You got an Xyz monster, you got a Ritual monster, and I would normally tribute this and the Drytrons, sit on the Ritual monster, bring this out, or if you really wanted to, you could just use it all for it, because you can bring this out using those. But it says if this card is special summoned, you can target a Ritual, Synchro, Fusion, or Xyz monster you control, or in your graveyard. All monsters your opponent controls lose attack equal to the target monster's attack. So it's almost worth it to just tribute your big guy. Bring out one of your 4,000 attack Ritual monsters, plus, the Xyz monster, and a few, Gammas and Drytrons and stuff, and link them all away, because then this guy can reduce your opponent's monster's attack equal to that Ritual monster that you used to bring this out. And your opponent cannot target monsters you control that were special summoned from the extra deck with their monster effects. So they can't even target this with their monster effects either, by the way. Yeah. So it's pretty nuts. And then this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect. You can banish one of your Ritual monsters or Xyz monsters from your graveyard instead. So, if you ran through all of your Utopia Roots, you burned out all their materials, These are sitting in your graveyard, and they're like, okay, I'm going to run you over. And then you combo off into a Link Mail Archfiend. You do your thing, but boom, reduce all their monsters' attacks by 4,000. You swing, you pass, and somehow they get over this guy, or they try and get over him. That Utopia Roots that you just went through, all those Utopia Roots you just went through, that annoyed the hell out of them, or even that Drytron Muta Beta Fafnir that got you into your plays earlier. You could just banish that from your graveyard instead, and they'll have to be like, God damn it, just wasted another resource. So it's a good tech option. If you enjoyed this Drytron Ritual deck profile, be sure and attack that thumbs up button. If it's your first time to this channel and you haven't subscribed, be sure and set that subscribe button with the notification bell activated so you don't miss any more Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profiles just like these. This is your Rogue Underdog Gamer, signing off. I'll see you in the next one. It's your move.